In this video, I'm going to show you how to play World of Warcraft on your Steam Deck. I'm going to walk you through installing BattleNet, installing the game, and then setting up the controls with two different methods. And I'm also going to show you how to download CurseForge and set up your add-ons. Without further ado, let's jump in. Okay, so what you want to do first is click on the Steam button or Steam menu, go to Power, switch to Desktop. Now, there are a couple of different ways that you can actually install BattleNet, but for the purpose of you playing just BattleNet games or World of Warcraft, I'm going to show you the easiest one. So once you're in desktop mode, you just want to open the browser, and for the purpose of this being easy for me, I'm using a mouse and keyboard, but you can totally do this with the Steam Deck. If you press Steam X, that will bring up the keyboard, and then you can just type BattleNet. So you go to BattleNet, and up top here, you can see download BattleNet. And this will immediately start a download. You can set it to, let's say, desktop, save. We should see it right here. You can right click and click add to Steam. And what this does is this will add the program to Steam as a non-Steam game. So if you go to library here, you'll be able to see it right there. And if you click on the cogwheel, properties, all you have to do to make this work is go to compatibility tab, force the use of specific Steam Play compatibility to, and just select any of the latest one. You can select Proton Experimental or Proton 10 if you have that. It doesn't matter, it just has to be one of the latest ones. And once that's done, you can just click play, and this should start the launcher and the actual installation of it. And here it is. I'm just gonna install this real quick, just like you would on a Windows PC. And you just have to click continue, and it will create its own folder. It will be installed on the Steam Deck's internal storage. And once it's installed, it will straight up launch, and you can just log in. Okay, so how do we actually access this from game mode? If we were to just start the exe again, let me just make sure it loads. Okay, so it's loaded, we're logged in. Let's see, and let's go ahead and exit. And if we go back to Steam, it's still running because it's running in the background, but if we stop it, we should completely exit. And if you wanted to just log in, how would we go about that? If you click play again on the exe, it shouldn't start the installation. Instead, it should just start the BattleNet agent. It will do an update if that's necessary, but it straight up skips the installation, so you don't need to do anything else. So once this is all done, you can just go back to gaming mode, and every time you want to launch any of your BattleNet games, you can do so with the launcher. So let's go back to gaming mode, and let's see if we can clean things up a little bit. And back in gaming mode, if you already started it, it should be the first game that you see here. But if it's not, you can click the Steam button. You can go back to, you can click the Steam button. You can go to library, and you will find this in the non-Steam category section. So usually you are located here in your installed games or in all games. And if you scroll to the right, you're going to see a non-Steam section, and it's going to be right there with the rest of your non-Steam games or apps. Now, it doesn't look great, so what we can do is we can change the artwork. In order to have this option to change the artwork, you need to download this plugin that's called SteamGridDB. SteamGridDB is a website that has various different artworks for games. It's community made. You can choose from pretty much a lot of different options, and you can just make it your own. Now we have it looking a little bit nicer, and we have a logo as well. So if we go here and press play, this should launch us straight into BattleNet. And if you clicked keep me logged in, you wouldn't have to type in any new password. Don't worry about the resolution, it will fix itself. And here we are, and you can just, if you don't have a mouse and keyboard, you can just press Steam button and use the right trackpad as a mouse. So if we navigate to World of Warcraft, or rather World of Warcraft Classic, we can select here Burning Crusade Anniversary, select your account, and you can just press install, And again, it will install it on the SSD. This is just a default place. Start install, and now you will just wait. Right, and after the game is installed, you can just click on play and it should launch without any issues. You can skip the cinematic by pressing the 3 lines button on the top right. And here again, you can press the Steam button, and with the right trackpad you can activate the mouse and you can choose your realm, log in, and let's see, let's do this guy. All right, and once you're in, you're gonna see that you can pretty much only move the mouse with the right trackpad, but you don't have any other options. You can go to the options menu here by pressing the 3 lines button, and you can like go through the controls and stuff like that. But what you really need to do is you want to open that chat window, and in order to do that, you are gonna need a keyboard. So if you press the keyboard, R2 enter, this will open up the chat window, and just so you can see it here, GamePadEnable 1. So if we go back here and press R2, we should now have gamepad. So this is me playing it right now with the joysticks. So the left joystick will move the character around, and with the right joystick you can turn around like this. So when you do this, you're instantly going to lose access to the menu. So if we press the 3 line button, it no longer opens the menus. So the way you can do it is, again, with the right trackpad, you can click here, and then you can go to options, and then you can go to key bindings, and this is where the fun starts. So I think the first thing you want to do is you want to be able to toggle the game menu. You can press on this, press the 3 lines button. It's gonna say not bound, but it will be bound. Now I'm pressing it, it works. So I am going to switch over to my camera, and I'm going to show you what this looks like with us holding the Steam Deck in handheld mode. Okay, so here we are in handheld mode, and I've previously done this. I have a video from about 3 years ago that sort of goes over how I set this up back then. But again, if you click the right analog, it will move the camera. You can move it up, down, left, right, and this will move your character. Now obviously on the Steam Deck you have way lesser buttons than on a keyboard, but there's a lot of things that we can do to sort of get over that. First of all, you can use this just as a mouse, and you can select spells like that. And what you can do is you can go to options. Again, I've set this to work with this button right here. And you can go to options, and you can go to key bindings, and then you can set up different key bindings here. Now, keep in mind that even if you bind something, it's not going to come up as something that you bound here. So if we go to action bar, and that's on action button 1, let's say that for 1 I want this to be on X. I press that, it registers it, but it doesn't actually show that anything's bound here. This is a limitation that World of Warcraft Classic has, and the way Steam input works is just not going to show up. In the retail version of World of Warcraft, you should be able to actually see gamepad icons here, and it should look much better. So 1 is X, 2 is Y, and 3, let's see, let's put 3 on the right bumper, and see, this now shows up. The right bumper is button 5, and now button 5 is no longer bound. This one doesn't show up, so you're gonna have to experiment a lot with this. Let's see, if we go to controller settings here, and I do have a layout that I previously set this up, and we can select it and we can see what I have. I previously had the R4 and R5 buttons, so these are the paddles on the back. That would be my right mouse click, left mouse click, and stuff like that. But if we go to community layouts, you can see a lot of layouts for different BattleNet games. So because we have loaded up BattleNet, other people who have loaded up BattleNet the same way, their different templates will show up here. And this guy has a template for World of Warcraft. You can select it, you can download it, and you can see it. You can see what he did, and maybe he did a lot, and some of it resonates with you, so you can just click apply layout and you can pick his template, or you can go back, you can search for different templates, or you can entirely do your own thing like I've done. Now you can just select all of the different buttons for the spells that you're going to use, and you know, you eventually run out of buttons. There's a lot of characters that require a lot of buttons, and what I've done to try and combat this is set a radio menu here on the left trackpad. So you can see when I slide my finger across the trackpad, I have access to 5 more buttons. The way you do that is you go to Steam, controller settings, and you can go to virtual menus, and I have one called spells. Let's add a new one, virtual menu, and we're gonna name it. I'm gonna call it spells 2. And you can see create a radio menu, create a touch menu, create a hotbar menu. So what I had is a radio menu, and it will gonna create. You can go and click on this button here, and it will open the options for radio menus. So what you want to do is you want to have a command, you want to have an entry. So if you go here and click on add virtual menu entry, you can click on 1, and it will add the button 1 here. We go this, you can add 2, 3. You can pretty much add any button on a keyboard, and not just on a keyboard. You can also add mouse buttons, or you can have action sets, or you can have system. But once you've done that, you can do a couple of different settings here. You can choose when it works on touch or on click or on release. You can see how it looks on screen. You can adjust the haptics, so you can make it so you have better feedback when you press it. And when you're done with all of that, you can go to trackpads and you can select left trackpad behavior, click that, and assign this to the radio menu that you just created, so spells 2. So if you go back into the game, and we'll have this here, and you can add as many buttons as you want. Right, so this is all down to preference. Now another thing you can do is you can pretty much generate new buttons. So if you go to layout and go to triggers, and let's say I want to do left trigger, if you click here, you can select create mode shift, and this will create a mode shift right here. And you can just press, and you can add a command. Let's say I want to do like this one maybe, and my normal full pull would trigger F2, my soft pull would trigger F1, but my mode shift would do the equals key. Now how do you actually trigger that mode shift? You can go here and you can select a button that will trigger this shift. So if you go to no buttons, you can pretty much just go and select one of the back paddles. So L4, L5 are these over here. And let's say I want to do L4. So I've selected L4. And let's see. But if I press it softly, it will be F1, right? But if I press the paddle and that, it will be an entirely different button. So in this case, it's my stamina right here on the equals. So by pressing down different buttons, you can create combinations of buttons, and that will give you a lot more options. So you can have, for example, I have 1, 2, 3 is on X, Y, B, but I can also create that when I press this paddle right here and I press 1, 2, 3, I can set that to be 5, 6, 7. So that way you can pretty much press the exact same buttons with additional button, and you have a lot more buttons available. Now, all of that being said, I don't think playing World of Warcraft with a controller is for every class or for every situation. What I would mainly use it for is, for example, light questing or doing dailies and stuff like that. And it's a lot easier to play with a controller if you're a DPS class. So if I were a tank and people were relying on me to do some fast actions and to target different mobs, it would be hard. You can set a keybind for targeting, you can do that absolutely, but it's just gonna be a little bit of a learning curve. Now, another thing that's gonna be pretty hard is healing, because you can set up, for example, you can set up different buttons to target different party members so you can heal them. But I've grown accustomed to healing with mouse over macros, which is faster because I don't have to click the spell. You can't really do mouse over here. You can move the mouse, but it's gonna be pretty hard. But you can actually try and do this as well with the right stick. What I'm saying is, it's definitely a lot easier to do this if you're a DPS. It's not impossible to do it if you're a healer or a tank. It's just gonna take a lot of getting used to. So that's pretty much how you set up the controls. If you go to controller settings, there's going to be a lot of options, and you can just explore here, and you can add a lot of different things. You can do shift, you can do mode shifts, you can do combinations of buttons. Really, the sky is the limit. You can pretty much add any button in game. Now, I've set all of that, and it looks like we're missing something. We are missing add-ons. So let me go over how to add those, and then we're also going to go over the other option you have for playing World of Warcraft, and that's with an add-on called ConsolePort that changes entirely the whole UI and makes it probably a lot easier if you don't want to deal with setting custom controls, or if you're not doing this on a Steam Deck that has so many buttons, but instead you're using a controller for PC for some reason, you can use that add-on and it will look a lot better. So let's see how that looks. So to set up the add-ons, let's go back to desktop mode and I'll show you what you need to do. So if you play World of Warcraft, you're probably familiar with CurseForge. CurseForge is basically the way to download add-ons nowadays. And if you go to curseforge.com, you can click on Get CurseForge app, and immediately it will notice that you're on a Linux, and you can download the curseforge.app image. And I've already downloaded it, and once you do download it, you can start it, and I've already done that, but the first time it will install, and once it installs, you just have to press this again to start it. Now, there is an issue with CurseForge and Steam Deck or Linux in general, and the issue is that you're not really able to log in. If you press the login here, it will open Chrome, and you can navigate to this and you can log in with your account. And once you're actually logged in, it will say login successful, and then it should open the app, or you can click this to open the app. However, this command here to send this data, this authentication data that you've logged in, to send it to the app, it doesn't seem to work. So we're not logged in. Now, I tried a couple of different things to resolve this, and I wasn't successful. I've seen that on Reddit, people have offered different solutions and some of them worked. So this might be a big deal for you, because you know CurseForge has the sync option, which means that you can sync add-ons between different machines. If you're not able to log in, you just have to do it the old school way. You either have to re-download every add-on, or you can copy your add-ons folder from your PC, and you can, for example, upload it to Google Drive, and then you can download it here on the Steam Deck. Now, when you first launch CurseForge, it's going to look for a game. It's not gonna find the game because the game is installed in a very specific way. Let's pretend that I didn't add it. What you need to do is you need to manually add a game. If you select scan disk, you can run that. It's not going to find the game. It's going to say that it didn't found it. Maybe in my case, it's not going to say it because I've already pointed to the folder. But when you run it for the first time, it's going to come up and say that it didn't find any game. And that's because the way World of Warcraft is installed on the Steam Deck is that the Steam Deck creates sort of this fake C program files folder, and CurseForge just not able to find it. But I'm going to show you how to find it and how to actually eventually add it to CurseForge. So what you want to do is you want to open the browser section here, and if you don't see, and you want to click on home, and then you want to click on deck. And if you don't see all of these folders that I have here, what you want to do is go up here to the right and press on show hidden files, and this will open a lot more folders for you. The one you're looking for is .steam, and then you want to go to Steam, and you want to go to Steam Apps, Gamepad Data, and here you're going to see a lot of folders. Each of these folders is a game installed on Steam. In one of these folders, World of Warcraft is going to be installed, BattleNet and World of Warcraft are going to be installed. The way to do it is, the way to find it is you can click on Modified, and if you just did the process of installing, it's going to be one of the folders that was created today. And I know for a fact that it's this one because I checked it earlier. So if I go in here, Drive C, Program Files, World of Warcraft, and that's my folder. So we can have this open up here, and then we can go back to CurseForge here, and we select manually add a game, and you're here at home, and you're probably not going to see that Steam folder, so you can right click again, show hidden files, and there it is, .steam, and then we just follow the address from up here, and we go to Steam, Steam Apps, Gamepad Data, and it's the one that ends on 86, PFX, Drive C, Program Files, World of Warcraft, Anniversary, and then we can click Open, and it's gonna say the game is already been tracked, but in your case it's gonna say the game is added. And then you can just add your add-ons as you would normally. So now I'm going to show you the add-on called ConsolePort and how that works. Okay, so this is the add-on, and the cool thing about this is that it even has a Steam Deck preset. So it knows that if you're running this on the Steam Deck, you're probably looking at a smaller screen, so it will give you large options for the actual buttons. So we can press Steam Deck, press continue here, and here you can have different modifiers. Again, it works the same way as the mode shifts on the actual Steam controls. So you can go through all of this and set up a lot of custom different stuff. So you can have left-handed modifiers to keep movement and binding set swapping to the left side of the gamepad. You can do triggers. You can select how the mouse works, and as you can see, it's going to show you all the buttons on the Steam Deck, and you can select and customize this. So for example, Y is not currently bound. If I press here, I can just bind it specifically. It will show my current spell, so we can do that and select that as a Frostbolt. And for A, we can do something else, and you can go down here and you can select that to be jump, so you can do all sorts of different stuff. Right, so this is what it would look like after you finally set it up. I have all the different spells here. There's a lot of things that you can do with this add-on, and I will link to a couple of different videos that explain exactly how to sort of set this up, because there's a lot of little tricks and stuff that you can do, and a lot of it is very personal. You would want to set up spells in a very different way depending on how you play and what class you play, but you can pretty much do anything. Now, a couple of things that I wanted to show is, for example, the ring. If I press this and A, this will open up like a quick access ring, and then I can sort of rotate like this, and I can select different stuff. Like for example, I can open the bags and stuff. So that's a thing you can do. You can always just go here. You can open this and you can do all of the different setups. Again, you can go to guide and you can press here, and you can go back to controls, and you can change all of these initial setup things that you want to do. You can change the type of movement, you can change the settings, you can select it, you can set it to completely empty, and you can start over. So yeah, there's a lot of settings here, and you can customize a lot of things, including where the actual bars are sitting. Like I've enlarged them here, and now I've set it to empty, so it's all empty. I've made these a lot bigger, and I've also set it to display every different combination, so that if I forget what spell sits where, I can just refer to it. It's kind of hard to see, but I know that if I press LT, it's going to switch over to the next set of buttons here. So yeah, if I press this will give me a whole new set of spells over here. If I press the left trigger, it will also change it to a whole other set of spells. It also changes it on the left here. So you have a lot of different buttons by default. If you don't use any of the other buttons on the Steam Deck, like the back paddles, you can have up to 48 different button combinations here, just by doing this here. And if you do this add-on in combination with the controls we previously set up, you can also use the back paddles here. I personally have set this to left and right mouse click. That's gonna be it. That's pretty much how you can play World of Warcraft on your Steam Deck. And if you guys found this video helpful, or if you enjoyed it, consider leaving a like, subscribe to the channel if you're into Steam and Steam Deck stuff. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.